Finding his way to a somewhat dilapidated toy store, he does away with the shopkeeper, and then, quite bizarrely, stitches up the places his wings used to be. The reason for his earthly visit remains a mystery. Later, he manages to infiltrate a firearm factory and hoards as many guns as possible. Next, we meet a pair of off-duty police officers, driving home from work and having a somewhat disturbing conversation. They openly express their desire to rid the streets of homeless individuals, insisting that the rich only view them as a means to an end. Just as they're talking, an explosion shakes their world, and our angel man makes his appearance. Confronted by the police, he's told to drop everything and raise his hands, but he insists he's short on time. With a flicker, he takes one of the officers hostage. Suddenly, the remaining officer starts to act out, violently, especially his head. When he finally stops, his eyes are wide, and his teeth are as sharp as knives. It seems our angel man's companion has taken control of him. Yep, just your average otherworldly shenanigans. The controlled officer tells the angel man, "This isn't your mission," to which the angel man replies that he abides by his own code. The reply he gets is a bullet that pierces right through the hostage officer. In response, the angel man eliminates the possessed one and makes his exit. At this point, we're introduced to the film's good-hearted character, Jeep, who awakens from a terrible dream. Jeep lives in a makeshift vehicle home with a pregnant woman who, interestingly, is not his girlfriend, and the baby isn't his either. Jeep simply likes looking after them, in the way any kind-hearted guy would. Also, it turns out, Jeep is the son of the woman's boss, who runs a diner where the pregnant woman Charlie works as a waitress. Jeep, ever the helper, is the reliable support in this diner community. The woman in question, living in the cramped vehicle with her boss, Bob, and his son Jeep, has decided to give her unborn baby up for adoption. She reasons there's no dad around, and the living situation isn't ideal. The diner, which is their primary source of livelihood, sits strangely isolated, miles away from the closest town, but it still manages to attract a decent number of customers. Percy, the cook, is a deeply religious man, and Bob's best buddy, even though Bob doesn't share his beliefs. Their differences somehow strengthen their friendship. Over at a table in the diner, a couple is enjoying their food while keeping an eye on their teen daughter, Audrey, nearby. The mother, Sandra, throws a sarcastic remark about Audrey's skirt being too short. Without missing a beat, Audrey fires back a witty retort implying she inherited the trait from her mother. Curious to hear the rest of the story? Please subscribe, and now I'll tell what happened next. All this while, a passerby, having noticed Charlie, 8 months pregnant and puffing on a cigarette outside, stops at the diner, seeking directions. Charlie responds vaguely, hinting that his destination is a long way from their current location. The man, trying his best to bite his tongue about Charlie's smoking, finally gives in and advises her to quit for the sake of her baby. She brusquely tells him to mind his own business. Inside the diner, he asks for a phone to make a call, just as Audrey's father, Howard, is urging Bob to speed up his car repairs. It seems they've been stranded because of their broken-down vehicle. Outside, Jeep spots a massive storm brewing in the distance. Meanwhile, inside the diner, the TV starts acting up. The radio loses its signal, and the stranger's phone call abruptly ends. The diner's patrons sense something is amiss in the city. It's then that an elderly woman walks into the diner, acting rather brusquely with Charlie, questioning why she has a boy's name. Unfazed, Charlie shrugs off the rudeness and continues with her work. Sandra, from her table, queries the old woman about any potential issues in the city, given the recent power hiccups. The old woman brushes her off, stating it's none of her concern. As Charlie serves the woman her meal, the woman spots Charlie's pregnancy and disturbingly predicts that the unborn child is doomed. Sandra, having overheard the conversation, jumps to Charlie's defense, scolding the woman for her uncalled-for rudeness. The elderly woman suddenly lashes out at Sandra, hurling verbal abuses that raise Howard's ire. He attempts to respond, but it's clear he's no match for the feisty granny. Sandra intervenes, attempting to calm the situation. Then, without warning, the old woman's eyes widen and her teeth become unnervingly sharp, similar to what they had seen with the police officer earlier. In a shocking display, she lunges at Howard, tearing a piece out of his neck before upsetting her table with an unnatural strength. The diner's patrons watch in stunned horror. Quick-thinking Percy, armed with a frying pan, strikes the old woman. Unfazed, she scuttles up the wall and onto the ceiling, spreading panic among the diners. Bob snatches a rifle and fires off several shots, missing the agile old woman until Jeep takes aim at her with his own gun. She boasts that even if they manage to kill her, the unborn baby inside Charlie will not survive. That's when the stranger steps up, shooting the old woman dead. With Howard gravely injured, they decide to use the stranger's car to get medical help in the city. But as they start the car, a swarm of mosquitoes descends, forcing them to abandon their plans. Just in time, The Angel Man arrives at the diner in a police car. Bob, cautious, asks him to show his teeth to make sure he's not like the old woman. The Angel Man warns them that they're likely to face more people like her and offers his assistance. He brings out the stash of guns he collected earlier, distributing them among the group, including Charlie, though he urges her to stay as safe as possible. The group swiftly barricades the diner and hunkers down for the night. The Angel Man, Bob, and the stranger take to the rooftop, providing a vantage point for the impending onslaught. An ice cream truck rolls up, and its driver starts emitting an ear-piercing screech. His body grotesquely mutates as he launches an attack on the diner. The rooftop defenders manage to shoot him down, but not before noticing several more vehicles closing in. The Angel Man instructs them to show no mercy and open fire on all approaching figures, insisting they're no longer human. In the ensuing chaos, one invader breaches the barricade, seizing the wounded Howard and dragging him away. The group immediately springs into action, desperate to save their friend. As one of the invaders seizes Charlie's hand, it becomes apparent that she's the main target of the attack. The Angel Man swoops in, severing the attacker's arm, and fires a barrage of bullets through the window, eliminating all the intruders lurking there. Sandra, in a state of shock and panic, receives what's meant to be reassurance from the Angel Man. He bluntly informs her that her husband is no more. An odd choice of comforting words indeed. Bob, now more anxious than ever, is questioning their actions. They've been forced into a battle, defending themselves against these mysterious enemies, without fully understanding why. He demands answers from the Angel Man. The Angel Man finally divulges the harsh reality. God, the ultimate entity, is fed up with mankind's incessant violence, corruption, and sins, the usual human shortcomings. As a result, he's deployed his divine agents to cleanse Earth, eradicating every trace of humanity. A difficult concept to grasp, considering there's no given explanation as to how this will be accomplished. The unborn baby in Charlie's womb is destined to be the world's savior. Who determined this destiny remains unclear. Perhaps it was God's decision, but it's puzzling why he would engineer his own adversary. The group is further taken aback when the Angel Man admits he's indeed an angel, a revelation they hadn't guessed. Oddly, they don't request a display of his supernatural powers to validate his claim. A chance missed, if you ask me. Jeep expresses curiosity about the divine hierarchy and the existence of angels. The Angel Man admits it's not as glamorous as it sounds. Though he possessed wings, he was disheartened by God's decision to obliterate humanity. He argues that not all humans are bad, and wiping out every single one seems rather extreme, even for God. But his viewpoint didn't resonate with God, who in disagreement dispatched every angel to possess human bodies and hunt the Angel Man down. He also mentions a sibling, Gabriel, who is an angel too. But in stark contrast to him, Gabriel is a devout follower of God's orders. As the new day dawns, the group catches some rest at the diner. Suddenly, Sandra is jolted awake by a sound and cautiously peers out of the window. Sandra is filled with shock and fear as she witnesses the horrifying sight of her husband strung up on a post, his body grotesquely swelling with peculiar writhing lumps. Despite the grim reality that Howard is beyond rescue, Sandra tries to rush to his side. The others comprehend the futility of her efforts and attempt to hold her back. The bizarre lumps on Howard's body undulate with growing intensity until they burst, releasing a substance akin to acid from within. Percy, acting selflessly, leaps to Sandra's aid and tragically pays with his life. In her distraught state, Sandra is restrained by the group and tied to a chair when she begins blaming her daughter for the ordeal. As Audrey fiddles with the radio, she stumbles upon a broadcast, revealing that survivors in the city are battling the possessed individuals. Audrey proposes they seek help in the city, but the Angel Man insists that they cannot endanger the unborn child's life by leaving their current location. Later, Charlie shares a painful truth with Jeep. She admits that she had planned to terminate her pregnancy months before, but changed her mind at the last minute. She had thought she could get an abortion any time, but circumstances shifted such that it became impossible. Ironically, the child she resented was now the reason why people were risking their lives. As night falls, a vehicle pulls up outside the diner. A man and his child step out to refuel, only to be ambushed by a horde of possessed individuals. The stranger valiantly leaps to the child's defense, only to discover, much to his dismay, that the child too is possessed and has lured him into a trap. The child bites the stranger. Inside the diner, Bob and the others begin to dismantle the barricade to aid the stranger, but the Angel Man stops them, prioritizing Charlie and the unborn child's safety. Audrey, impulsive and brave, decides to help and dives through an opening, only to be swarmed by the possessed. Charlie watches as the Angel Man refrains from intervening, so she decides to take action herself. The Angel Man, conceding to her plea, agrees to rescue Audrey to ensure Charlie's safety. Armed with 2 guns the Angel Man storms out of the diner, unleashing a hail of bullets on the possessed individuals. He finally reaches Audrey and they sprint back into the safety of the diner, narrowly avoiding a nearby vehicle as it explodes. Charlie is taken aback when the child from before somehow manages to sneak into the diner. He lunges at her with a knife, but she manages to ward off his attack. In the struggle, the knife slips, slicing off the young boy's fingers. Suddenly, the lights flicker out, plunging the room into darkness. It's then that they notice the boy choking Bob. Jeep comes to the rescue, putting an end to the possessed child's life with a swift gunshot. Amidst the chaos, Charlie starts experiencing labor pains. With everyone rallying around her, Charlie begins the daunting process of giving birth. As this is happening, a deafening blast of a war horn echoes from the skies, intensifying the drama of the situation. Up on the roof, Bob and Jeep spot a massive crowd of possessed individuals surrounding the diner. After a tense ordeal, the long-awaited savior of the world finally makes his arrival. The crowd outside the diner wails in response to the birth, creating a disconcerting atmosphere. Suddenly, Sandra, unhinged by the situation, grabs the newborn, warning everyone to stay back. In her desperation, she contemplates offering the baby to the possessed crowd, hoping this would appease them. Before her plan can unfold, the Angel Man takes swift action, shooting Sandra. Jeep leaps into action, managing to catch the baby just in time. The entrance to the diner starts to glow, and Gabriel, the Angel Man's brother, steps in, intent on eliminating the newborn. Bob valiantly tries to stop him with a firearm, but to no avail. Unfazed, Gabriel dispatches Bob using his wings, a signature angelic move. Recognizing the immediate danger, the Angel Man instructs Audrey, Jeep, and Charlie to flee with the baby. With the birth of the baby, the possessed crowd seems perplexed about their next move. As a result, they simply stand aside, allowing the group to escape. Back in the diner, a dramatic exchange takes place between the two celestial beings. Surprisingly, it's Gabriel who emerges victorious, taking his brother's life. However, he sheds a tear, revealing that he did not relish this task, only fulfilling it due to divine command. In the meantime, the escaping group makes their way towards the survivors' camp they had heard about earlier. As the Angel Man breathes his last, Jeep's body acquires the markings that were on the Angel Man's body, suggesting a transfer of purpose or mission from the fallen angel to Jeep. Although the markings suggest Jeep may have been transformed into an angel, the absence of wings makes it uncertain. Soon enough, they are found by Gabriel, who launches an attack. Audrey bravely diverts Gabriel's attention, sacrificing herself to provide the others a chance to escape. As they speed away, their car swerves and crashes into a ditch. Miraculously, despite the accident, Jeep, Charlie, and the baby are relatively unscathed. They flee on foot, pursued by an undeterred Gabriel, who survived the crash. Gabriel eventually catches up to them, and he stands just a heartbeat away from ending Jeep's life. However, in a surprising turn of events, the Angel Man, presumed dead, makes a startling return. Gabriel is taken aback when his brother explains that he provided God with what he needed, while Gabriel merely catered to his desires. This distinction apparently sways God's judgment, offering the Angel Man another shot at immortality. Once again, the celestial brothers clash. This time around, the Angel Man emerges as the victor. True to his benevolent nature, he decides to spare Gabriel's life. Before departing, the Angel Man imparts a final message to Jeep. Asserting that he's the real guardian of the baby, he then takes flight, leaving Jeep with his new responsibility. Jeep, along with Charlie and the baby, proceeds to the survivors' camp, signifying a glimmer of hope for humanity. With the birth of the child, there's a newfound chance for the human race to regenerate and thrive once more. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and let me know in the comments what you think of the ending of this movie. I guess YouTube didn't show you my other videos. Here are two I think you'll definitely like. So take your pick and watch.